Ready? Okay. All right, so we'll get started. So welcome everybody. Thanks for coming on a Saturday afternoon. And my name is Aroni, and I work with the Alliance for Secular and Democratic South Asia. So this is a group that works on the issues of various justice issues in South Asian countries. It's formed with people of South Asian origin, and we work on various social, political, economic, racial, gender justice issues, environmental justice issues, etc. And this organization was formed in 1992, immediately after the demolition of the Babri Masjid. And since then, it has had a focus on the issue of communalism and spread of various kind of religious fundamentalism in South Asian countries. And we primarily work on what I can call sort of educating the public. So we do talks and seminars, discussions, and film shows, etc. And we hold also reading groups and group discussions on various issues. We have a website, www.southasiaalliance.org, and we also, and some of you can actually sign up on the sign up sheet, but there are not that many people here. But yeah, so if you're interested, anybody, come talk to us. And we have weekly meetings on the weekends on Saturdays where we discuss various issues and plan for future events. So on behalf of the Alliance, I welcome our speaker, Dr. Sujata. And I also thank AID Boston and MIT chapters for co-sponsoring the event and for booking the room for us here at MIT. Sujata is a professor of sociology in the Satavahana University in Karimnagar in Telangana. It's near Hyderabad. Hyderabad is the capital city of Telangana, but it's also the capital, the joint capital of Andhra Pradesh for now. Andhra will have a separate capital in near future. And she's the principal of, what's the college's name? I forget. Arts and Social Sciences College, which is under the Satavahana University. Sujata did her doctoral studies from the Osmania University, working on issues related to Dalit women. And for a very, very long time, she has been involved very intimately with politics and activism regarding Dalit issues, regarding all sorts of caste issues and gender issues in Telangana. Some of you might know that Telangana is the newest state in India. It was formed in 2014. There has been a very long struggle for the statehood of Telangana. And interestingly, the demand for the statehood of Telangana was very closely linked with issues of economic justice and also caste justice. Dalit activists were very, very strongly involved with the issues of the Telangana movement. So how caste issues and also I think gender issues play a role intimately with political movements. The Telangana story is a great example of that actually. But of course, since the formation of the Telangana state, the politics has probably changed a little bit. And so all that story, Sujata will tell us today. And I just finally want to say that Sujata has she's here for just 1 month. She has a very hectic schedule. She's running around United States like crazy. And in spite of that, the moment I told her to come here, she said, I was a little bit hesitant, but she immediately said that, look, I'm not here to rest. I'm here to actually interact with people, so I'll come. Just tell me when and where. So that's her. And so I really thank her for taking our invitation and coming here. Thanks very much and welcome.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So I must thank Boston Friends and Alliance and also AID for organizing. at least on the topic which I want to talk. Actually, the background goes in on the May 1st, when Paul had introduced me to Arne and at your place, that when we are talking about the democratic secular left politics, then we must talk about the caste also. That was the idea. Abha was interested, and she initially thought of. I'm giving a bit background on this topic. So, what could be my experience as a Dalit woman? Could be and when Arne and me was talking about it, we thought Telangana is the in state now, the new state in India. And why Telangana? I want to give a little bit introduction because you are all aware of Rohith Vemula incident. So that actually triggered the caste discrimination in academia. So caste discrimination across India, in every village, in every minute or second kind of thing we experience, because I as a principal college, university, postgraduate college belong to, I don't get a house in Karimnagar because of my social background. So for a rent, I'm talking about. That means whenever I live in Karimnagar, I feel Karimnagar is the most radical left belt which movements have started. Why this thing has not been addressed was always my concern. I moved from Hyderabad to Karimnagar in 2009. So when before moving to Karimnagar, I had lots of hopes because Karimnagar is the hot belt, and I can learn from the radical movements and all that very thing. After that, I was closely started looking into the social movements which took place in Telangana, because Karimnagar is the place which has very, very great history of radical history, Naxal history, People's War history, and also in Telangana history, it has very great role in the Karimnagar. Then talking today is that very traditional. If you go to North India, even some parts of Telangana and Andhra, you really can't publicly speak about your own caste discrimination. So in this, I'm talking about 2016. So the context is that whether it is the Modi government or whether it is very radical left, if I can talk about Bengal, if I can talk about Kerala with highest literacy and the communist belt, and if I come from a Karimnagar and Telangana, because we really worked very, very hard for the new state. Not only my generation, but for the last 60 years, phases and phases, people have sacrificed their lives. They really wanted to have a separate state, because when we are all working, we were thinking that this state will be definitely a different state. It will address all the caste, class, gender issues. All was our intention of working at that level. So now, after the state, I really want to share my experiences with the world, that state as a nature and the bureaucracy which we are into and the myths we are into, that government mechanism and the government upbringing of the caste class, and also people who fought for Telangana once you join the state, how you turn the coin, all those would be in mind before coming here, and that was also to put it in front of you. Generally, people think that, it's not only political parties of all colors, because I'll start from the Rohith Vemula, because Rohith Vemula incident, we have seen every political party coming into it, except BJP. All the political parties, of course, except Telangana government, except the Andhra Pradesh government, both Telugu states, they have not even commented on it. I mean, they played their role very well in a different sense to prove that Rohit was not a Dalit. So they employed their police, they employed their every mechanism, every machinery, but now it's come out that he was a Dalit. So my intention was that Telangana claiming as the different state, always standing against the imperialism, against the all the inequalities, like was the history that the great communist history, great land reforms history, and the great armed struggle history. So now forming a 29th state, that what is the status of caste in this state was the thing which I would like to be very informal, not a very structured lecture I prepared for. So when I was working, I mean, if I can start about the armed struggle from date back 1948, 42 onwards, that was really a struggle recorded in the world history, that peasants, taking up the guns, fighting for the land without thinking about anything, putting their lives in the risk. They lost so many lives, and it happened in Telangana. And we were all very proud about that history because in those days, pre-independent days, you are fighting for the land and you are fighting for the dominant politics. And I was curious to know about what are the social issues they took up. So very surprisingly, all the communities, Dalits, Adivasis, women especially, they took up the arms and they participated. And suddenly, with an adjustment with the governments, the movement is withdrawn. I mean, it has left some impressions, some land to the marginalized communities. And very interestingly, when we took up the land details, if suppose 200-300 land is distributed to 20-30, we have a Reddy domination, Veldema dominating communities. 200-300 land is distributed to the upper caste, dominant caste, to 20-30 people, and same land is distributed to the lower caste and the Dalits. Hundreds of people will share the same piece of land. You know what I'm speaking. So it looks like, oh, so many hundreds and thousands of acres were distributed, but distributed how? The distribution went on those who are in the upper layer, they got a major chunk of it. Those who were toiling and struggling and who lost their lives, they got a very, very small pieces kind of thing. That was a land history of that struggle.
If I can ask the question,
Yeah.
This happened. This redistribution happened in 40s or in the 50s. When was this?
Yeah. See that land struggle in 1940s to 50s. So they have occupied, and even today, I'll tell you about that land story. Then there was a gap. The communist parties were really joining into the Indian state, which Telangana is not willing at all to. So Telangana rulers, by then we were the 7th richest state in the world. Telangana with great resources. We have coal, we have rich mineral resources, and we have huge land, and under the Nizam rule. So, of course, any ruler is a ruler, but we have Nizam communist parties look at it that Nizam have suppressed the people, language was not given, their cultural identities were suppressed, all that stuff. But when we look back, there were really people in Telangana, 48 onwards, they don't want to merge with Indian state. But the Communist Party played a very good role in, Sardar Patel, the entry into it, butchering thousands of people, those who doesn't want to be merged, those who are not willing to merge. And somehow we were forced to be in the Indian state. Otherwise, people always say, the old people always say, if Telangana would not have merged, because at that time all the Indian states have a choice. If you want to be in the Indian state, you can be. Otherwise, you don't need to. So if Telangana would not have been included, it would be a richest and the different country today. It was the opinion. So that time social issues were not discussed. But after merging, the whole Andhra domination, the whole direction is converted to the Andhra people coming over, and Velodi was the first Tamilian. I mean, must be very vague for you all, but when the merging process is happening, a Tamil Nadu person is employed, and he brought all the Tamil Brahmins to the Hyderabad and Secunderabad. If you see most of the parts in Hyderabad and Secunderabad, we have a whole bunch of people. Then Andhra Pradesh is under the British Madras presidency, and they were thrown out of. They were also fighting for the separate state, and they merged. They were really looking for a capital, and they joined. That you all know that how they joined. From the day one, the fighting has started for Telangana jobs, Telangana milky rules, and Telangana share, Telangana. In this whole process, also the caste question and gender question have hardly been discussed. But there's a person called Vagyarati Varma in this process. I mean, if I need to talk about political movements, I have to talk about the Communist Party entry, Communist Party role in merging, and 1970 onwards, the Naxalbari movement from Srikakulam to Karimnagar belt. How you all know that Kishanji, who passed away, hailed from Karimnagar. And from there, 1969 Telangana movement, where hundreds of students were killed. So this is all with one slogan: Telangana is different, the language is different, we are different, our identity is different, we want our jobs, we want our land, this was the slogan. This has always been a slogan. After that, 70s, I mean, if you see the left radical impression in Telangana, it is very, very high, very much. It could, the ideology of left radical is in all the castes spread over to the especially marginalized sections. I was really very much impressed when I went to Karimnagar. All illiterates, all marginalized sections, all the Dalits and Adivasis, they have a high knowledge of world politics, high knowledge of what's happening in the imperialism, what's happening in the world capitalism and all. I was really surprised because I was like an academic. How did this happen? It happened because of the movements, because of the involvement of the people. So then we were also, honestly, not much thinking about the caste and struggle at that time. But the person called Bhagirathi Varma in Telangana from 88 onwards, he was really working during Nizam's rule, working on the Dalit issues, scheduled caste issues. That he started schools, he started reforms, Adi Hindu, Mahasabha, and he was talking about the eradication of Devdasi system. He was talking, I mean, much before Ambedkar. So this history was not there. I think I was also reading Namashudras in Bengal, that very, very old. If you ask me the history of Indian history, I always say that it is the history of fighting against Brahmanism, the history of the battle between Brahmanism and non-Brahmin, and versus the Pule, Periyar, Ambedkar. I don't know much about how much class struggle, land struggle we have by claiming. So Telangana, after that, there is a person called Maroju Veeranna, I don't know how many of you are aware, who come from very, very strong, radical Janashakti background. He actually started the looking at Telangana from caste perspective, looking at Telangana from Bahujan perspective. He said, if Telangana comes, who are the people going to benefit? It is not the Reddis and it is not the Velmas. It is the people who are struggling and fighting and fought for Telangana. So he started organizing people, caste-wise organizations, like tribal organizations, like carpenters, daddy toppers. Every caste he started organizing, and he was organizing people, and with the radical, with the we have to have hold on resources, our land, our culture. So what is to be a Dalit? What is to be a chamar? What is to be a Padmashali, like weaver? Kind of things he was articulating and directing, and that is also he was killed ultimately during the process, 1960s. So I would say that caste perspective in Telangana was introduced with the radical left ideology of a person called Maroju Veeranna, who initiated the discussion that if Telangana comes, all this should go to the underprivileged sections and all the sections. Then there was 1996, 97 Telangana Mahasabha, Janasabha streams have come up from the radical left groups. There were also people killed in the encounters because your background, all that stuff. After that, that was the entry of caste into the Telangana political movement, I would say. After that, 2001, Telangana Rashtra Samiti, TRS party formed. There is also interesting history, TRS, how Kalvakuntla Chandrasekhar Rao, the KCR, is brought into the politics. He was with the Telangana party earlier. And some people who are working about articulating Telangana history, obviously, I don't know, I can't say accidentally, but they were looking for a dominant caste person who can speak, who can articulate. They somehow brought this person into the Telangana politics. That was not written anywhere, but the people whom we worked, Professor Jayashankar or people, Professor Podand, and we all know that they encouraged KCR to come into the politics. And he entered with the Telangana Rashtra Samiti, which claims only for Telangana movement. And even today he says Maoist agenda is my agenda. But that was the slogan he took up, and he came. Without one thing is for sure in Telangana politics, without talking about radical politics, you cannot talk about anything, because that is very much intermixed with the state politics and all political movements. But Indian history, the caste polarization started after the Mandal revolution. You all know Mandal agitation. That actually deviated a whole bunch of Dalits from other caste groups. And when they were OBCs also, the polarization started. And you all know 1985, Karam Chedu, 1991, Chunduru, all this brought like Rohith Vemula issue, brought the Telangana issue, caste issue into the center stage all over India. But unfortunately, even till today, unless there is any massacre, bloodshed, a death of any untouchable caste, it won't trigger the media. It won't take the attention of the politics. That's how we are seeing Rohith Vemula. When he was alive for 14 days, nobody was talking about them, why the students are sitting outside, why there is Velivada, Dalit ghetto was placed. So that is also a thing to be discussed. So Karam Chetu, Sunduru, People claim that Telangana, we don't have any large massacres because Telangana is highly caste sensitive. I'm not, I don't know, I look at it that a death for me cannot be measured only with the massacres. Because a death for me, particularly an untouchable life, is every minute you have to deal with with the dignity question. Every time when your status is questioned, your color, your class, your socio-economic, political background, Dalit life is almost a living dead. I wrote in Telugu magazine about the Dalit women. It's home to tomb, you know. So there is a discrimination across the life, womb to tomb, that we feel the death, we feel the oppression every time. So Telangana politics from radical to TRS, the nature and character changed, entirely changed. The one goal is started that we want the state. So we, person like me and friends, some left groups, were talking about the natural resources, environment, control over the masses and the untouchables, Dalits, tribals over the land. Very small section of people were talking about this. But the Joint Action Committee was proposed in Telangana that all the groups form into the committee, and that is really remarkable. And I feel happy with all my disappointments that I'm a part of the great struggle which took place. It is a live. People were killing themselves, pouring kerosene, hanging under the tree, and dying in front of you. I was witnessing many dead bodies in the mortuaries. Students and activists writing, "We want Telangana, Jai Telangana" in their pockets. So it was like a mass emotional kind of involvement. In this generation, I could see and I could participate. That time, we were promised there is a Dalit chief minister by the KCR. Was a promise to the Dalits. So, but we don't have much hopes that if there is a Dalit chief minister, that's going to bring revolution in the Dalit lives. But that was a promise is made. People were happy, or somebody is talking about Dalit to the new state and a new chief minister and all. So there was also joint action committees by the marginalized caste groups. So they were talking about their share in Telangana and the issues. So caste question strategically sidelined, and people, Ambedkarites and Ambedkar groups, were questioning us, why are you fighting for separate state? Ultimately it goes to the hands of the upper caste and Velmas and Reddys. So why you be involving in that? But we were always very optimistic that no, Telangana is very radical state. Telangana is a different state that definitely it will address all sorts of discrimination, was the slogan dialogue we used to make. So we got Telangana in 2014. The first deceit we got, first disappointment and deceit, everything, what you call, I don't know that. Kalvakuntla Chandrasekhar Rao, he himself became a chief minister. Whereas he's supposed to make a Dalit as a chief minister. So it's not KCR taking the decision, but it is that no radical forces, right forces, right was not there. So Congress or political parties, nobody is questioning this. So that was the first disappointment for us. So then within no time, we started feeling that Telangana has a very high feudal history of Velmas, Reddys and all that. We started feeling the characteristic of feudal state within no time. Within 6 months, that the first thing he did was all all promotions, perks, weapons, vehicles to the police department, who never participated in the Telangana movement. So we were wondering what is happening. why these police were given much priority and all. The second thing was the whole Telangana movement is possible only with the students, university students and all kinds of students. They were under the severe repression, like all the groups, all the leaders who participating, who were not with the TRS government, they were under severe this thing. And the people's voices and radical voices who wants to hold a meeting, I mean, even to organize a meeting, you don't get permission, even today. And the police and very funny experience was we never had this much of oppression with earlier governments, like during Vengal Rao, during Rajshekar Reddy, during all other rulers. So caste question suddenly in a different colors, different shapes, slowly lands positions were changing. They are holding lands because when after the Naxal movement, Karimnagar and Warangal, all that belt, majority land holdings were into the SC/ST/BC's hands. They don't know all this registration and all that stuff. They left lands. They started cultivating land. But now everybody is coming and occupying their lands. I always had a question when the Naxal movement, distributed some lands and left lands. Why didn't they really have, proper registration up to registration or up to some kind of a piece of a paper what people can claim this is my land? But that didn't happen. I don't know why it didn't happen.
So how did they distribute? It was just by force?
No. Actually, when the whole movement was running, the landlords, they left the lands, and also some were distributed because wherever the movement is strong. And now Telangana government has taken up the mining as a major activity, where large chunk of people were going to lose lands, SC/ST/BCs, because we have coal, very abundant coal. So we say gold region or gold city. Then within 2 years, all the projects which Telangana government is designing, about 1 lakh acre land is going to be acquired for various projects. So it's a dam, it's a road, it's whatever it is. If you see the statistics, all the SC/ST/BCs are going to lose the land. So forget about addressing the caste as a caste issue, but you are pushing them into the severe poverty, displacement. Now with the Telangana government, we already lost huge tribal area. Khammam was one of the districts where you have all the primitive tribal squares you have. The Polavaram project, which is considered as the big, huge project in the world, which is the project going to displace 3 to 5 lakhs tribals and with a huge forest resources under the submergence of land. That portion of land is given to the Andhra area. I mean, whether it is Telangana or in Andhra, the affected people are tribals. So even Telangana Joint Action Committee had no say why we have to, put tribals' life into the just because of separate state. Why we have to agree for the Polavaram project, but it is again a tribal issue, so you won't get much attention on that. So Dalit in academia, Dalit discourse and Dalit thing is triggered only after Karamchedu and Sunduru was the history what we have. In academia, after late 1990s, it has started. But now the situation is that if I come to America, and sometime 2-3 months back I was in Australia. Oh, people say that India is developing because Modi is going everywhere. India is developing. India is going to be all the made in India, make in India concept, all that. But if you see the caste atrocities, that if you wear a watch, your hand is cut. If you have a mobile app, sings for Ambedkar, it comes in the Shirdi, you all must be aware that a boy has a mobile ringtone which is having Ambedkar's song, where he was having in a bar or a small place. So just because his phone was ringing Ambedkar's song, he was taken by his friend, his group sitting next to him. He was killed. And yesterday in Andhra Pradesh, two years boy in Vijayanagaram. I mean, they have a rural goddess festival. All the stage is set by Dalits because they have huge recording and dances and all. This boy went to play. I mean, small child, he wants to dance and all. And this 10 years, 12 years girl accompanied him. And all of the family, including that girl, was brutally beaten. I mean, what I'm saying, North India, South India, Telangana, we don't, we don't see that these radical movements, political movements have left any kind of scratch in the system, the social structure or the social system, which I was fighting for a Dalit woman gang rape case in the Karimnagar. So I hardly see any, except few radical groups coming together. There's a huge silence in and around the case. So why that silence? I still don't understand. Are we blind to understand the discrimination, or we if there is no bloodshed, it will not move? Or great example is Rohith Vemula, that it did not move many people in Hyderabad itself when they were alive. After that, everyone, we are all talking, but why? When I was talking here in University of Massachusetts, Johns Hopkins, and Columbia University last time Ambedkar birthday, that all the question revolves around whether Rohit is Dalit or not. The question never, the center point, why he was killed in the campus. He was died in the campus by the actions of Vice Chancellor. Those two things nobody will discuss. And like Akhlaq was killed. The whole discussion is whether in the fridge you have a beef or a meat. The discussion, immediately divert to that. When the Dalit woman is raped, her character is being discussed. Oh, maybe she was the one in the recent case where I was fighting. No, the boy who raped her, she used to talk to him, and who gave she knows him before only, all that stuff. So the point is, 125th celebrations by Modi, by communist parties, thanks to Rohith Vemula, that we are talking about Jai Bhim Lam Salam. That is the slogan has come up. And KCR has announced 125 feet statue in both Telugu state. So if you, to pacify the Ambedkarites, and as an academician or activist or woman, I always think that this is such a big, huge, inhuman practice, discrimination in front of your eyes, every day, every time, every place, irrespective of you are educated or not educated. Why it won't come into our organizational level, our organization structure, our organization practices, whoever it is, whoever working for human rights, whoever working for any rights, whoever land rights. I tell people that we are working on land, we are working on agriculture, we are working on something else. I see when you are working on land, who are the people, denied of land? Who are the people? Even till today, Dalits do not have land because historically you're a clock cobbler, you are a scavenger, you are something else. So you are never looked as, you are also a person that you need land. You are only an agricultural laborer, that you are not capable of doing farming and all that stuff. When I was working on mining, district collector tells me, I asked him why only SC/ST lands you take up. Many people, many landlords were there with hundreds of acres of land. Why don't you take their land? No, no, no. This is all wasteland we give to SC/STs. So this is the land we can take it up. So when you distribute land to the poor, you make sure that is a wasteland. So that after 100 years, 50 years, I led a struggle, SEZ struggle in Telangana. After 70, 50, 70 years, many generations with sweat and blood, they made all the, dry land into the, just now they started receiving some money. They took it up for SEZ, this generation. And they don't know. You all know that land reform policies, the compensation and the GOs, how it works. Okay, so my question is, why the caste issue is not looked at as a major issue by any political party? Like Dalits have reduced to the schemes, beneficiaries, that okay, we'll give you 100 rupees, we'll give you white ration card, or we will give you some that I am the giver and you are the receiver, you are the receiving end. So that is the attitude that we have. And the second point is, caste issue is not our issue. I was talking to Arnie yesterday that an Indian IWS, Indian Women's Association conference, I was given a topic to coordinate caste inequality and intersection thing. 70, 80 papers I received across the globe. Caste is only Dalits. All were known. I was wondering, only in India, only Dalits have caste. Nobody else has this caste or identity. I'm not saying that everybody should speak about the caste, but the caste struggle always looked at like, this is not our agenda. It won't be in our this thing. So in the literature, you have a separate chapter. In your political struggles, you have a separate chapter. In your kind of all the resource distribution, you are a receiver. So the whole problem of, I can put it that the understanding itself is a problem. That Ambedkar in his whole lifetime tried to articulate and tell people that this is a ghost, this is like cancer. If you don't address this, and it is going to eat up everybody. So what happens, I'm interested also here that Black African Americans, their evolution, and how majority white people took part and backing them up. I never see in India that others backing up the non-Dalits coming and talking about it and writing about it and taking it into there. So Indian state failed to address the caste in spite of all possible human rights protections by legally or otherwise. So my disappointment with the academia and the organizations, that why we are not concerned about this issue as much as it should be. So see, if you take the scavenger issues, I always wonder, don't India have that much money to remove that profession? It's just few thousand crores of rupees. You don't need to go to. And we talk about bloody every possible big billionaire project in India. So how are we going to address that? Can't you construct a laboratories? Can't you bring them a small portion of people to the other level? And for that, ages and ages, we fight, we go to the UN, we bring that shit and show to the people that we are carrying the human shit. And same with, if I talk about the Devadasi system, if I talk about the Even people were dying in cleaning manholes. Don't we have any mechanism to clean manholes? That won't. I don't think anything happens other than India. Only these people will clean the manholes and they die. They go to the sewerage. And when we ask municipal corporation, it is very difficult to operate that machine, and it is very expensive. So these bloody souls, they always come for 100 rupees, 200 rupees to clean that. So they die. So I talk about a little bit, 5 minutes and close about Rohit. Yeah.
No worry, no problem.
Rohith Vemula issue. What happened to Rohith Vemula issue is, I'm happy that he was also perhaps really happy. I don't believe in soul and all that God, but he was disappointed. I was there the day from the beginning to the end of his death. I was there in the campus. So he was disappointed that they thought, oh, they're doing a big Velivada ghetto, and they are fighting with system, vice chancellor, and all that stuff. But after his death, the world really moved on this issue. That's what I'm happy. I'm saying that. But naturally, it's a sacrificing in our festivals. You have to, vote and something you have to give as to begin the festival. So we have to sacrifice our life to get an SC/ST Atrocity Act. You need Sunduru Karam Sedu. We are talking today about the Rohit's Act. You need Rohit's life, perhaps today. So after that, we know Professor Apara, Vice Chancellor, who was the culprit. We know that there is an act called Scheduled Caste Tribes Atrocity Act. We know that it is filed against them. Let's say Smriti Irani and all the ministers and the people who are involved, and we are not able to arrest them. I still don't understand why, and police and your judiciary and every mechanism and every political party, that if you can't arrest all the big people, then why is that for only small between OBCs and SCs, STs and OBCs? It is used as a rivalry weapon. Those who are all angry with the people, they make somebody to file a case, and again after 1 year, it's silence, because these Professors Tathagat and Ratnam was very active, going around the district, taking part on the movement. Very small group of people, of course, radical left group people were taking the Justice for Rohith Vemula struggle, and they are making it alive. The debate is alive in our place, and they were suspended. They were suspended again. You all know that it is revoked, and police commissioner supposed to, as it is declared that Rohith Vemula is a Dalit few days back, they're supposed to arrest now, and it's not happening. That is the disappointment. I mean, we talk about capitalism, we talk about imperialism, we talk about big market policies. I was repeatedly saying that you don't know the face of imperialism actually, the face of capitalism actually, how it is in your kitchen or how you are practicing it. But we are still fighting. We are still fighting with the sensitive zones, with the weapons, with the people. But the face, the people, but we are not able to fight there. So I was asking if our strength, our capacity is not able to deal with Vice Chancellor, will we claim ourselves that we will fight the big imperialism or capitalism? Can we call ourselves eligible to fight? So that is because I strongly believe caste-class struggle should go hand in hand. Otherwise, there is no meaning. Because whether class struggle affect the dominant castes or not, but definitely all the marginalized sections, especially in India, they need land, they need resources, they need job. So that is there. Even today, if you take any movement, that only these people are fighting, not the others. So in the diaspora, I'm happy that you are taking up with this issue. You're doing whatever you can do. You're at least keeping the debate alive. Let us keep the things. But caste issue, state as a power, misusing, political parties are misusing, some of the NGOs are misusing, but the result is nil. I always, from my childhood, same statistics. Every 3 minutes, Dalit woman is raped, hurt, their houses are burned, there is abuse. I always see, next year I will see the different statistics, but it is not happening. Either the understanding is wrong or our statistics are wrong. So I stop here. I like to, I came here for a discussion that the new state really disappointed us. I mean, any state will disappoint the caste people who are fighting for annihilation of caste. And the people who understand Marx, Mao, and all the big revolutions, I always feel bad. Why don't they understand Ambedkar and the people who advocated all the annihilation of caste and the inequality? So, what is wrong? Actually, I feel if you address the caste issue, your class struggles will get strength, more strength. So, question to all of us, including Ambedkarites, are we, in a right direction of addressing this issue? Because I seriously have criticism against Ambedkar groups as well. It's not celebrating the birthday, that they will not solve the problem, but accusing all the people will also not solve the problem. But constructive efforts that we see, we can't do anything. Yeah. Yeah. I have one thing to this is Professor Satyanarayana has one of his Dalit studies books. So it's a kind of a small poem translated to English. So the poet is Sikhamani, who is a Brahmin poet from Hyderabad. So the title is an apology. So it says, I apologize, Dalit. Dalit, I apologize. I'm a poet and a rare poet. Why my name, my background? I'm a Brahmin with a glorious lineage. Oh, please accept my apologies, Dalit. Never had the time to write a line about you. The past thousands of years, so engrossed I was in enormous literary pursuits, other pursuits. Our old poet calls poetry, soldier's poetry, the sweet pudding, maligned by crow. You are not even a Shudra. How can I write poetry about you? My apologies, Dalit. I'm a poet, I'm a modern poet, and a postmodern poet. How can I write poetry about you? I can write about the great Vietnam Tiananmen Square, the fall of Berlin Wall, and hunger in Somalia, but not about the wound of Chundur, the pestles of Karamchedu, and the flame of Neerkonda is another massacre we have in Andhra, Rayalaseema. I am an international poet. I certainly cannot write poetry about Mala colonies. Mala is a caste SC. I sang to my heart's content the heroic deaths of martyrs of revolution, but the swollen, stuffed corpses of butchered Dalits didn't move me. And I cried about alienation. Alas, I cannot be moved by the dehumanization. I have lamented about curfew in evocative poetry, but cannot expend a drop of ink to condemn the caste killings. It was written by S. Kaman. He was very famous about how literature is also failed to address the issues.
Can you also read it in Telugu?
I don't have Telugu now.
Oh.
I used to have, but morning when I was talking to Arnie, I suddenly searched for him. So the literature, see, when we are talking about, I'm associated with, I'm also very inspired by the left radical groups, and I still have associations. I was curious to see how many people died in encounters, what caste backgrounds. I'm curious to see, but I don't find any trace of caste histories. They claim that once you are in a movement that you won't carry your caste. That is a great injustice. I feel that when I meet the old people of farm struggle and later Naxal movement people, they still live in Dalit ghettos. So it surprises me when I ask him that you are a great leader, then you took the weapon and still with a small hut, you are here. Many people were, with a great historical background, they were cherished, they're celebrating their histories. He says that caste was never in the agenda. So we were asked to take up the arms and fight, and we were fighting, that's all. So, but thanks to the Dalit discourse and the post-90s, only this is happening because some of the Dalits availed these post-reforms, economic reforms, I think, helped them to come to abroad and avail the internet facilities and the modern technology that they could relate with the black histories and the revolutionary histories, and they are digging all the past histories, who worked on the caste, all that stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, if people have questions.
Thank you, Sujata. That was, we came late, but I got the gist of your talk. So, I'm not a member of any party, but I have very good friends who are in CPI and Liberation.
Yeah,
so we go to India often. So, I recently read a beautiful open letter by this young woman called Chintu Kumari, who's a leader of ISA in JNU. And she's Dalit. So she writes that somebody had questioned her as to why she was an Ambedkarite and why was she with CPI. So she wrote this absolutely beautiful letter, which I don't have it in front of me, but
we'll
I can tell you a few things from it. So she says, first of all, she says, I'm very proud of the fact that I'm a follower of Ambedkar, and I'm also very equally proud of the fact that I'm with CPI and Liberation. She comes from Bihar, and she says that the CPIML's presence with landless laborers and with very poor working class in Bihar is something most people know. And so she goes on to say about how the vast majority of the landless, as you mentioned, are Dalits in Bihar. And a lot of the progress that they have made in terms of land struggles, in terms of struggles for dignity, because they're all interlinked, struggles for land and struggles for dignity, have been under the leadership of CPIML. And CPIML has produced very eminent leaders from the Dalit section who have, gone into the,
Mainstream.
Politburo, the Politburo, the CC.
Oh, yeah.
So it is not to say that they are only used as cannon fodder like some mainstream leaders are prone to say. So it's a beautiful letter about why she says these two are so interlinked, the caste struggles and class struggles, which you mentioned. When all these massacres happened in Bathani Tola and Lakshmipura, why is it that mainstream leaders, whether they are Dalit or whether they're upper caste, you shouldn't have to always expect only Dalit mainstream leaders to come out. You should
Yeah.
expect everybody to come out. But none of these parties have condemned those attacks, whether it is RJP or whether it is, where they claim to be sort of upholding,
Caste
exactly, working for the oppressed. So it's a beautiful letter, and I just think that really is an eye opener to a lot of people who wonder why Dalits should be with an ML organization. And I think when people talk about mainstream communist parties and say they haven't done this or they haven't done that, I think one should not club everybody together. And I think we should all be a little.
That's why I confined to Telangana.
Right. No, not you. But I'm just saying, we always have people who are against communists in India saying, what have this communist party done? But you have to be, a little more sincere in the way you approach scholarship. And say, who are the people who are working and who are the people who probably are not spending as much time on caste issues.
See, the Communist Party-led states, I always, being a, supporter of left and radical groups, I always interestingly look at the statistics of atrocity. They're not less, even in Kerala, even in Bengal, even in Bihar. North India is, I feel better that I'm in South India sometimes, because I can go and protest on the road. I can, if you look at the statistics, say when we are working on particular issue, for me, it should have some impact. I'm saying communists and in Telangana, all the communist leadership, even today, even in the Rohith Vemula thing, before Rohith Vemula, even in the national politics, you have upper caste leadership. So for me, if I'm talking about any issue, I would look at it in a practice. That's what I was also talking about last time. Me sitting in a leadership position, the biggest criticism what Ambedkar is posing to the upper caste leadership parties, you are giving me the program. Okay, so what Dalit should do, what Dalit can be, at what level they can fight, and you let me do the between Kannaya Kumar and the Rohit struggles. These are the two dominant dialogues were happening. That I'm not saying Kannaya is against Rohit or a Dalit issue, but at the same time, when the marginalized sections, it's the same kind of a women talking about